Win big with new DRF All Access past performances. With one best-in-class product, you now get all three past performance formats. Go to drf.com and use coupon code 1FREEPP for a free single card today.
Hi, everybody. Dan Ullman, Mike Beer, kicking off a 50-cent pick 5 at Tampa Bay Downs on Saturday with the first of 2 graded stakes races on the turf on the program. Here's the field for the Grade 3 Endeavor. These are fillies and mares going 1 mile and a 16th for $175,000. Full Count Felicia is the 2-1 morning line favorite for Brittany Russell, winner of the Grade 3 Swanee River last time out. She showed off a pretty strong late kick to win that race.
She did. She got a perfect trip in that race, but she did finish up well in there. Her form is pretty good overall, especially since the trainer change here, Dan. I guess in some ways she's the horse to beat. I think the 2 Consumer Spending is the best horse in the race. We'll see if she's ready off the layoff.
I think Consumer Spending should be the favorite based on her overall body of work as well. She's going out for Chad Brown, which means she might end up the favorite. Chad seemingly takes a lot of money everywhere, especially in these turf races. We throw up the Timeform US Pace Projector. I wonder how this race flow will affect a horse like Consumer Spending, though, who likes to be taken back from off of the pace. You'll note the LP flag over the chiclet. This one has the fastest Timeform US late pace figure, but catches a race that favors front runners. I really don't see a confirmed speed. Does Be Mine Sunshine just get the lead by default?
We'll see. I mean, first, listen, Consumer Spending has a strong late kick. She's not a one-run closer, so I don't think a slow pace necessarily works, that much against her. The other thing about this pace projector, Dan, is if this pace is indeed slow, there's no way that the number 4 Walkathon is 5th early.
I was just going to say that the 4 Walkathon and the 7 Full Count Felicia have shown races where they can get to the front, especially the 4 Walkathon, who's ridden by a very crafty rider, Antonio Gallardo. Let's start things off with Be My Sunshine, who's slowly putting things together for trainer Safi Joseph. She's won 2 in a row, including this race against fellow 3-year-old fillies in the Tropical Park Oaks, her final start of 2023. The trip and ride worked out beautifully for her. The hole opened up at the 3/16 pole, and Be My Sunshine does the rest holding gamely.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I won't knock this performance then because all of her turf starts are good. She's clearly a horse that handles the surface, but I mean, just when you go back and take that race apart, she got a perfect trip in there. Everything really worked out for her, and she took another step forward and she got the job done. It was a quality win. This is a tougher race.
Consumer Spending won back-to-back graded stakes races last spring and into the summer, and then she was very, very unlucky at Saratoga in the Ballston Spa, where she was completely held up behind horses and only was beaten a length. You could make the argument she was best in that race. Now, she hasn't run since early October, where she disappointed in the EP Taylor. While she's been versatile in terms of distance, Mike, I think this distance at this point off the layoff is very good for her.
Yeah, me too. She can get it longer than this, but this is a fine distance for her. I don't know, Dan. We'll see, how she comes back from the layoff, whether she needs one or not. Obviously, the last time we saw her, she didn't really run that well in the EP Taylor, but I didn't really want to hold it against her. You're right about her Boston spot. She was going to win that day if she had, gotten a clean run. She didn't. And if she had gotten the clean run, she would have won off a perfect trip. But still, I thought that she came back even better last year as a 4-year-old than she was at 3. And if she takes another step in that direction this year as a 5-year-old, she could make a lot of noise in this division.
Now, the other Chad in this race is the 3 Implicated. She's lightly raced. She probably has more upside potential than some of the shorter priced horses on the morning line. She's already a multiple stakes winner. She won the Grade 3 Pebbles last year against 3-year-old filly competition. She got a very good trip to pull off the upset that day. Beaten 2 lengths by Be My Sunshine last time out in the Tropical Park Oaks, but didn't have the same sort of trip as the winner.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't want to sit here and defend her too much and say she ran some kind of, great race there, but she didn't get a perfect trip. So I think you want to take that into consideration. She's really lightly raced. And all of her turf starts are actually pretty good. The trip didn't work out last time. She looked like she really needed that start off the layoff, the long layoff back in October, Dan, and then improved immediately to win the Pebbles with a really good trip. I think she's probably better than she looks on paper.
It really looked like the number 4 Walkathon was on her way to being something during the spring of her 3-year-old campaign. 2 wins in a row, including a win in the Grade 3 Regret, where perhaps key to this race, she was able to get close to the pace. Now, unfortunately, after that race, she missed a whole lot of time with, I'm assuming, physical problems. While she hasn't come back in the same form, you can argue that her last race, although beaten by Full Count Felicia, there were hints that she could still run if you watch that race on the replay.
Yeah, that's how I looked at it too. It's also worth pointing out that her last three starts are all on less than firm turf. I think that's something you want to take into consideration. But you're right, Dan. I mean, they just sort of took a hold of her last time, sat back, and then she had to swing wide into the stretch there as full count Felicia just got a perfect run up the inside. This horse actually gained ground at the end of the race, though. I thought it was encouraging. I do think there's a chance that maybe she's racing herself back into form now after a super long layoff. She's good enough to beat this field, man. She showed her potential in those first three turf starts.
Trainer Graham Motion, one of the best in the world off layoffs, and he brings our next two entrants off layoff lines into this heat. The 5 is Wallachia. This is a mare that, if the pace is slow, can get close. We saw that 4 starts back. Now, she faced full count Felicia at Pimlico, and it was a less than firm turf course, but watching that race, full count Felicia just basically dominated that effort.
Yeah.
Wallachia is going to have to do a lot better. I thought her last race in the Forever Together showed some promise, but with her running style, they're going to have to get her into the race early.
Yeah, they are. And if she is lightly raced enough, though, that you feel like there's a chance that she takes a step forward at some point, and it might not be here, but as you mentioned, Motion is, really, really good off of layups. I just, more than anything else, I thought it was a tough spot for her, but she's not untalented, and she'll be a big prize.
A late runner like Sparkle Blue is going to need some pace, and we're not sure we're going to get that according to Timeform US. And she also needs the right trip, as she got in the Big Dreyfus 3 starts back at Laurel, where she was settling in behind horses. She got the split at just the right time and burst on through. Her last race was the Athenia. It was a race where she was wired. She tried to make a wide run, and she just sort of clunked on evenly. It's all about whether she gets the setup. On her best day, she fits very well with these horses.
Yeah, she really does. I mean, I kind of, I wanted to say that I was a little disappointed in her last year because I really thought she was set to have a pretty good 4-year-old campaign. She ended her 3-year-old campaign like she had really good have something to offer last year, and I guess it just didn't all really work out. But you mentioned she won that Big Dreyfus pretty easily off a good trip. Goes to the Kentucky Downs, gets wired in a Grade 3. Goes to Aqueduct, gets wired in the Athenia. Maybe she's up against the pace again here, Dan, but man, I think she's super dangerous in this
She
race.
reunites with Jorge Ruiz, who was aboard for her last victory in the Big Dreyfus. And here's full count Felicia, who just won the Swanee River down at Gulfstream Park. She does have a very strong burst of speed. And in this race, Arad Ortiz used it right here, where the inside opens up and full count Felicia bursts on through to win in game fashion with a really good 94 Beyer speed figure. Amiziel Jaramillo takes the mount here, and this is a mare that's versatile from a running style standpoint.
Good, yeah, exactly. Good effort here off of a really good trip. It was another strong performance. She's got the right running style for this race. There could be another really good trip coming even from the outside post. I'm not going to sit here and suggest I'm dying to take her as the favorite in this race, but she might be the horse to beat.
Interesting heat to kick off our 50-cent pick 5 at Tampa Bay Downs on Saturday. Let's take a look at our top selections. You're going with Walkathon. Again, she showed so much ability at 3, and I think you made a good point about her perhaps racing herself back into shape. She's a lot more tactical than Timeform US believes, in my opinion, and I think you agree with that. I think she's a horse that you can use at a price.
Yeah, that's why I put her on top. She is going to be a price in here. I do think there's a chance she gets a different trip here. They took her back consciously last time. They took her back consciously in that Keeneland race last October. They don't have to do that here. If this pace is slow, she should be forward. I'll give her a chance in here at a price.
I'm hoping that Ruiz can keep Sparkle Blue just a little bit closer to the pace. Again, Motion excels off of layoffs. This mare, as you mentioned, had shown ability, plenty of it in her starts last spring and even the year before. So I'm hoping she can kick on home pretty strongly here. 9-2 is fair price on the morning line. 6-7-4-1 for me, 4-2-6-7 for Mike in the Grade 3 Endeavor at Tampa on Saturday. Best of luck.